presented by the Strong Blue Line Foundation and powered by Moose Ridge Coffee in Snake River Landing, Idaho Falls. Welcome to the podcast, where former San Antonio police officer, author, and pastor Tim Rupp walks you through real-life scenarios involving our police officers and digs into the depths of facts and opinions on each case. This is Cop Talk, and it starts now.
Hi, and welcome to Cop Talk, the radio show and podcast of the Strong Blue Line. I'm Tim Rupp, and joining me is my friend and the operations manager of the Rev.fm.
There it is again.
Mr. Gary
Well
Austin.
done.
Hey, Gary, I love your shirt, man. He's got, we're not video yet, right? So they can't see it.
No.
They can't see it. But we've got a green. Now, is that a soccer shirt or is that a cycling shirt?
Soccer.
A soccer shirt. So it's a green Yeti soccer shirt with Austin on it.
Yeah.
And Gary Austin got this in Austin, Texas,
Yeah.
at the Austin airport, an Austin shirt.
Yeah. And no discount.
And no discount. Because you didn't tell him you were kin to Stephen F. Austin.
Yeah.
The father of
I
Texas.
should have.
But that would have been lying, Gary.
I know it.
Unless you are you? You
No.
may be.
No.
You sure?
I don't
Okay.
think so. No relation.
No relation to Stephen F.
No.
Well, here we are, Gary. It's June 17th, 2026.
Man.
Years
Already.
have gone. Can you believe that? Wow.
Yep.
You know, and so June and then July and next month we start looking forward to Gary's Christmas candy.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say Christmas or
Gary's
winter
Christmas
or
candy. Anyways,
that's great.
it's been. I wonder speaking of our winter. I wonder what our winter's going to be like this year.
I don't know. I've thought that. I think we're going to have a
I think we're going to have
hot
snow.
summer. And do you?
I think we're going to get snow. I hope we get snow. I
do
mean,
too. We need it.
it's kind of nice not to have the snow to mess. You know, the plan's great.
Yeah.
You know, but we need the snow. We need the
do.
moisture. What we need is the moisture.
Yep.
Oh, anyways, well, we got a show today. We're going to talk about a violent education, and so it's going to be interesting. Yeah,
This'll be good.
Speaking of Austin, Texas, that comes out of Austin, or comes out of Texas rather. This article, although it's written by the New York Times. Anyways, but before we do that, and I like to honor the officers who've been killed in the line of duty on this date in history, June 17th. And Gary, I have from the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, or Missouri, if you're from there.
Yeah.
Missouri,
Yeah.
the Show Me State.
Mm-hmm.
End of watch Monday, June 17th, 1861.
Ooh.
So this would have been just a couple months into the Civil War.
Uh-huh.
And that's important because of what happened. This is Policeman Pratt. We don't have his last name, just Policeman Pratt. It says 5 battalions of the Missouri Infantry Volunteers. Now, these were unofficial pro-Unionist. And, Gary, if you remember your history, Missouri was a neutral state.
That's right.
You had half
You're
of them.
smart.
Half of them really wanted to go with the Confederacy. The other half wanted to go with the Union. They tried to stay neutral as best they could.
Mm-hmm.
So you had people on both sides. 5 battalions of the Missouri Infantry Volunteers, pro-Unionists, were marching through St. Louis when a shot rang out from a second-story window on a downtown street. Another shot simultaneously fired from the sidewalk by a man who had just been released after being arrested for yelling insults at the troops. So this man was obviously pro-Confederate.
Uh-huh.
The shots fatally wounded a private and seriously injured a captain who is alleged to have given the order to return fire. The Union troops began shooting, sending a volley of bullets into the crowd and several local buildings. Policeman Pratt, who was on the court balcony, was struck in the lung by a bullet that entered the courthouse window. He succumbed to the injury 10 minutes later. Pratt was 28 years old and has served with the St. Louis Police Department for 11 years. I found that interesting. 28 years old. That means he began serving with the police department at age 17.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if he was an officer then, but I don't know what else. It wasn't like he was a dispatcher. You know?
Yeah, right.
So just 17 years old, started serving with the police department, served 11 years.
Huh.
Survived by his wife and 2 small daughters.
I'll be darned. That's
So
an
just,
interesting one.
Yeah, a stray bullet, you know.
Yeah.
1861. So it was just at the beginning of the war. The war started in April, Bunker Hill and all that, but already way out west.
Yeah.
At that time, west.
Right. That's, yeah.
Huh. Anyways, what do you have there, Gary?
This is Pennsylvania State Police, end of watch, Saturday, June 17th, 2023. This is Trooper J. Roju. So at 11 a.m., a wanted man entered the parking lot of a Pennsylvania State Police station, and he shot several patrol cars with his hunting rifle.
Wow.
The man fled and called 911 several times as officers searched for him. The man then shot and critically wounded a state police lieutenant in Miffletown Borough before fleeing again. And then shortly before 3 p.m., the man was located in a shopping center in Walker Township and then fled into a nearby wooded area where he and Trooper Roju were both killed during a shootout. Trooper Roju, 29, had served with the Pennsylvania State Police for almost 3 years. Survived by his wife, mother, sister, brother, niece, and 2 nephews.
Wow, 29 years old. So, yeah, young man.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't serve very long.
Yeah, and the guy just went into the police department, the state police there, and started shooting.
Yeah, in the parking lot. Just
patrol cars. Then he fled and started calling 911. So he just wanted to get a shootout with a police officer, and he did. And unfortunately, the trooper was killed during the shootout.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. And we talked about Shield 616. Shield 616, they're a nonprofit that provides rifle-rated vests to officers. So we don't know if this trooper was shot in the vest or not, but generally vests are just rated for pistol rounds.
Right.
Not rifle rounds. So when an officer goes up against a rifle, unless he has rifle-rated gear, which very, very few of them do, it's like having no protection at all.
Right.
Rifle just goes right through that stuff like butter. So, anyways, so there's a lot of troopers we want to honor this day. Yeah, a couple things I want to mention. My book, The Magnum Killer, has been out for a couple months now.
Yeah.
I talked to a couple of people, read some reviews. They said they really like it. It's just it's a fictional novel, and it's a good, clean fictional novel. Of course, it has murder in there. It's a murder novel out of San Antonio, a homicide detective.
That is cool. Yeah, I'm excited.
So it's guy's been reading that, and I'm in the middle of it. I'm hoping to get this published July the 1st. Everything goes well. It'll be the Winning a Gunfight 2nd edition.
Nice.
10-year anniversary. So of winning a gunfight.
Congratulations. So, wow.
Updated it. I updated some things on it, added a chapter at the end. So it's an updated version. Most of it's the same, but it's been updated, easier to read. Statistics have been updated, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the main thing is here, Gary, is human nature has not changed.
Right.
So, when you're dealing with bad guys, you're dealing with being involved in a lethal combat. A lot of that's just the same.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot that changes on that. But I have updated the book, and it should be available on Amazon, and of course on our website.
That is really
First
cool.
It's live. Everything goes well.
That's I love Winning a Gunfight. I love that book. I've read it. But it reminds me of about 8 years ago when I first had you on the radio, Tim, and I interviewed you. You came over to the studios and you were pastoring another church, and but you would come over and I interviewed you for the first time, and we got a couple spots on the radio. And anyway, that's a fun memory because we talked about your book.
That is, I remember that well, and that was. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
I appreciate
really
that.
Cool.
So,
anyway,
that's cool. What we have here today is. So this article comes out of the New York Times.
Okay.
So understand where it comes from. The New York Times kind of leans, kind of like the what's the tower in France? The Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower. No, that's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. That's what I'm thinking of. The Eiffel Tower doesn't lean, does it?
No.
It's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And if you're on the right side of the leaning... How do you know the Eiffel Tower? When's the last time you've been to France?
I've never been.
So you don't know if it's leaning. It could be.
It could be.
The Leaning Tower of
Pisa.
Pisa.
Oh, that's great, too.
And if you're on the correct side of the tower, it leans to the left. If you're on the other side, it leans to the right. So the New York Times, what I'm trying to say here, leans to the left.
Okay.
A Violent Education by Sam Stiffen. At a school near Houston, this is Houston, Texas, a police officer used a cord to hogtie a 10-year-old boy with a behavioral disorder who had kicked the principal. Now, Gary, this is, well, let me just go on and we'll talk about it a little bit. At a school in San Antonio, where I come from, an officer handcuffed a 6-year-old boy who had kicked a school employee. Near a school in Galveston, these are all Texas cities, an officer chased down a 17-year-old boy who ran off campus after he was caught with a vape, then pointed her gun, that's the officer's gun, and threatened to shoot him. So we got 3 examples here of school. One's a 10-year-old boy who had a behavioral disorder. Mm-hmm. Now, Gary, what, in your opinion, as a seasoned father, would be a behavioral disorder? You know, a disorder. Now, when the psychologists use the word disorder, they're saying that this is officially has become a disorder, a psychological problem.
Yeah.
I've been a father, now a grandfather, and a lot of behavioral disorders is just a lack of discipline.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say.
You know, I'm not sure what's going on. This is a 10-year-old boy. When I was going to school, when I was a 10-year-old boy, we didn't have behavioral problems in school.
Mm-mm.
They did. You were marching down to the principal's office.
Yeah.
And everybody knew about it, and it was taken care of.
Right.
It was, now I remember when I was in junior high and high school, who took care of it was always the coach. Send it to the coach. The coach took care of stuff. Huh. And, anyways, at school in San Antonio, a 6-year-old boy who had kicked a school employee. What is a 6-year-old kicking an adult for?
Yeah. That's a behavioral problem.
That's a behavioral problem. That's it. And then you have a 17-year-old. Now remember, this is a 17-year-old, but in Texas, I've mentioned here before, a 17-year-old, you commit a crime, you're considered an adult. You're not considered a juvenile. Now I know in Idaho, you're considered a juvenile at age 17. And most states are that way. Not in Texas. Now, you can't vote in Texas. You can't do a lot at 17 years old, but you can go to jail. You get arrested for DUI at 17, you don't go to kiddie jail. You go to the jail.
Oh, wow.
With all them adults and all them other people. But he was caught with vape. You know, why did he run off campus? Why did he take off?
Right.
If these kids would just comply, we wouldn't have these problems. Why in the world do we need police on schools anyways?
Exactly.
Now, I get it with the active shooter and stuff.
Right.
Okay, to protect against active shooters. But why are policemen dealing with children? The policemen, Gary, another name for police officers are law enforcement officers.
Yeah.
So that means you break the law, they enforce the law. They're not counselors.
No.
They're not parents. They're law enforcement officers. Let me continue on with this article. In the 4 years since, a gunman killed 19 children and 2 adults at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. School districts in Texas have spent billions of dollars to put police officers on every school campus in the state. This outlay is meant to protect students from similar attacks. And our reporter spoke with dozens of parents, teachers, principals, and students who said they believed in it. School police officers stop violent fights. They confiscate weapons, and they're a balm against a parent's greatest fear, school shootings. Just look at the TV. A third grade math teacher in Dallas told the Times There's no school in America that should not have some kind of an officer. But the flood of Texas school police officers, about 11,000, have been trained more than the total number of police officers in many states. Has not always made public schools safer. Officers have instead turned to heavy-handed tactics on children, often in response to minor misbehavior, according to an exclusive investigation by the Times and the San Antonio Express News. Instead of being sent to the principal's office, a student might get slammed into a wall or floor, arrested, kneed in the head, pepper sprayed, or shocked with a taser. And there's little accountability for it. Here's a chilling sentence from the investigation. Quote, police departments in Texas are not required to report incidents of force in school unless they shoot someone. Well, Gary, if you're going to have policemen in schools to protect against active shooters, then why are they even doing this?
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is my wife worked here. Now, we're in Idaho, very, very conservative state, even compared to Texas, a very conservative state. And still, the kids were not disciplined. The principals and the vice principals were afraid of the parents.
Really?
To do anything. Yes, well, we can't do this. We can't do that. We can't send them home. We can't.
Wow.
And then you have parents coming up defending their spoiled brat kids that are breaking the rules. Mm-hmm. I mean, that didn't happen in my day when I was going to school.
No, not with mine either, actually.
You were taking care of a school, and because of that, most parents would take care of it again. It was like double jeopardy, man.
Oh, yeah, my dad. Yeah, when things didn't go well at school, it was. I heard it at home.
And I remember a couple occasions when I was going to school, elementary school or something, maybe 4th, 5th grade or something. I would come home and I'd be upset about something. My dad would go, what's wrong? Well, and I believed the teacher wasn't being fair to me. And I explained what was going on, and my dad would just tell me, you know what? Sometimes things don't work out fair in life, but they are the authority in school, and you need to obey that authority. And if something goes wrong, then we'll go in and we'll talk about it. We'll find out what's going on. I mean, it wasn't abuse or anything like that. I just felt that, sometimes it wasn't fair. So, you know what? That's part of life.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to apply for a job and you're not going to get it.
Right.
Somebody else is going to get it.
It's true.
Or you're going to be let go from a job, for whatever reason. It may be because you did mess up.
Yeah.
Or it could be that somebody thought you messed up. You get blamed for something. There's really not a whole lot you can do about it.
Right.
But, we just have to learn. Yeah, this is a little bit, well, no, it's not off topic, really. I was at church a while back, and what happened, I'm not going to mention anybody's name, of course, but I was called as security, hey, you have a problem out there. Well, what's going on? Well, a guy said, well, I was trying to get my son to go into the sanctuary with me, but he didn't want to go. And his son was about 12 years old or so, I'm guessing. It looked like he'd be about 10, 11, 12 years old. And I said, you're the father, right? He said, yeah. I said, when you tell him to do something, he's supposed to do it, right? And he said, that's what I thought. And I thought, okay, this is a counseling session.
Yeah.
This is no place for this. And I'm like, so the family did not go in because the son didn't want to go in. So they sat in the hallway or they sat out in the foyer. I'm like, what is going on? That is
wrong. Yeah.
Kids cannot be dictating what they can do and what they shouldn't do. They're children. No. The problem is, Gary, and I know you've seen it. You see these toddlers are getting their way. 3, 4, 5-year-olds. They're getting their way. They're not being disciplined by the parents. And when they become teenagers, now they're big.
Exactly.
And the parents are a lot of times at a loss physically to control them. Then you get the behavioral stuff. So I'm not making excuses for the officers here. They got this picture of this one officer. They said they slammed the kid in, and you can't. I know we're on radio here, but the kid is pulling away from the officer.
Right.
And he pulling away and resisting the officer, and the officer goes with him, and the kid ends up against the wall. Well, first of all, why was the kid arrested to begin with?
Exactly.
Because he was breaking the law.
Yep.
you call a law enforcement officer to do a job, they're going to do a job.
Mm-hmm.
They are law enforcement officers. They're not grade school counselors or they're going to do something. You know, if the parents would have done it, you wouldn't have the problems in the schools.
That's right.
And then if the teachers and the administration would enforce the laws, you wouldn't have the problems. And it all goes back to, I believe it goes back to rebellion against authority. And that ultimate authority is God. And people want to push back against that. Let me read a little bit more of this article. We got a couple more minutes left. It says most police officers employed by Texas school district come from municipal police agencies. The report found more than 1,000 had been jailers. Now, so you got some of these guys, they're working part-time jobs, or they're coming out of corrections. And if you get somebody that's a law enforcement officer and he or she has just been in corrections their whole life, they are dealing with criminals.
Yeah, right.
And
that's different.
You and all of a sudden you take that mindset and stuff and you put them in the school with these kids that are smart mouthing and talking back and using all kinds of foul language stuff. That it's just unbelievable, Gary, what goes on in schools nowadays. What do you expect?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I agree.
And so, you know, they're again blaming the police for the officers doing their job. So while a 6-year-old boy shouldn't be handcuffed, you're right. A 6-year-old boy should never be in a position where he needs to be handcuffed.
Yeah.
A 10-year-old should never be in that position. Actually, a 30-year-old should never be in that
That's
position.
right.
But the fact of the matter is, you know, some people are knuckleheads. And we're all knuckleheads as kids. You know, we all do stupid things. But when the authority comes and tells you to straighten up and do stuff, I mean, Gary, I was sent to the principal's office. I got my spankings.
Yeah.
And I got home, and man, I
got it there too.
Yeah. You know, I've done that, and so I'm not saying I was a perfect little kid. I wasn't a perfect little kid.
Yeah. I
did some stuff that I'm ashamed of, and I was rightly corrected for it.
Yeah.
There's stuff I got away with that I should have been corrected for.
But it does say a lot about the parents. Oftentimes when these younger, especially when these younger kids, you know, are that way. And it continues oftentimes into adulthood because of sometimes the actions of the parents, you know. And it's I'm not saying all parents are bad but you know, because we're all Gary. Learning, it just kind of seems the generation-wise.
Yeah, and you have a small minority of children. You know, you can raise them right, do all the right things, and they're going to go off the deep end for whatever. I don't know, and so you have some that maybe have mental problems, but the vast majority of, quote, behavioral disorders is lack of discipline.
Yeah.
You know, the Bible tells us that over and over again. Train up a child in the way he should go. When he's old, he will not depart from it. And so we need to make sure that we do all we can. You know, my children grew up, and they got in trouble. As, you know, I had one child get in trouble with the law, and he paid the price. The price for it, but he learned from it. Yeah. And now child is very successful, doing a lot of good things. You know, you learn from your mistakes. You do things wrong, and but he always had the respect for the authority that he should have. And Gary, once again, we are plumb out of time, brother.
Here we are.
Hey, thanks for listening in. You can catch Cop Talk on all the popular podcast platforms. If you have a topic or question you want addressed on Cop Talk, please send me an email. You can email suggestions, questions, comments, or complaints to coptalk@therev.fm. That's coptalk@therev.fm. Thought from the good book today. Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline drives it far from him. Hey, thanks for joining us and helping make the thin blue line a strong blue line.
Cop Talk is presented by the Strong Blue Line Foundation and sponsored by Moose Ridge Coffee in Snake River Landing, Idaho Falls. Questions and comments are always welcome by email to coptalk@therev.fm. Listen, follow, leave a review, and share this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or YouTube. And visit thestrongblueline.org to learn how you can be a supporter. Cop Talk is a Rev FM production, produced and edited by Gary Austin. Thank you for joining us on Cop Talk.